Okay, I love my kayak and I love my boat. But today, I am forcing myself to make a decision, and this is going to be a challenge. Which one do I part with? Stick around. This ought to be good. I don't know which way we're going. So the other day, I had a friend ask me, if I could only have one, which should I get? I had to think about it. That's not an easy question, I got to tell you. So today, I want to go over the pros, the cons of both, boat and kayak. And in the end, I want to make a final verdict. Okay, so let's get into this. I got my notes with me, so I don't leave anything out. There's a lot to this. So let's talk about a boat, okay? One of the big things about a boat and a kayak is the boat costs more typically. Now, there's some kayaks that cost a lot, don't get me wrong. Like a Hobie Pro Angler, that's practically a boat, and that's a lot of money. But for the standard fishing kayak, a boat costs a little more. And really, you can spend about as much money on either one as you want, honestly. If you're one that's going to spend the money on the kayak, you're going to spend it on the boat also. So the accessories is kind of a wash, slightly. But the boat is bigger, so he'll probably put more things on it. So the boat side, you'll probably put more gadgets and so forth on it. Now, one of the big things about a boat is storage space. You know, you're only fishing out there 1, 2, 3, 7 days a week, right? Well, what about the other time? Where do you put it? Do you have room? Or are you going to pay for storage, which is not cheap? And when you have to pay for storage, that just makes it inconvenient to just load up and go. So room, storage is a big deal. As you well know, the boat's bigger, there's more to it, it's going to take more maintenance. You're going to have to change the oil. You're going to have to change the lower end oil. You probably end up changing spark plugs from time to time. There's things you're going to fix on the boat. It's just, it is what it is. Also, if you have a boat, you're going to have a trailer. The trailer's got tires. It's got wheel bearings. There's things you need to do that. There's expenses. The other thing, if you're pulling a trailer, you're going to use a little more gas on your car, truck, whatever you got, right? A little expense there. Now, the beauty about a boat is you can put 2 or 3 people on that boat with you. Kind of fun, isn't it? Sometimes. You know, a boat is safer than a kayak. Have you ever thought about that? I don't know anybody I know that's tipped a boat over on its side. I know people who've tipped kayaks. You're looking at one. You know, at the boat, you're out there fishing, the fish aren't biting. Kind of happens to me a lot. I can just take off and go to another spot. No big deal. I don't care if it's a mile away. Let's go. I'll be there in minutes. You know, most boats got a live well. I can load that live well up with bait, or I can load it up with some fish to take home. You know, a bunch of crappie. You know, in a boat, there is storage space they put on that boat. Pretty nice. You know, what comes to loading and unloading that boat, it's actually pretty quick. Mainly because you don't have to unload all your fishing poles, your tackle boxes. You just leave it on the boat. Pretty easy. You know, we get talking about kayaks. And on a kayak, no riders. You're going solo. On a kayak, there's not a whole lot of storage space. Space is at a premium. You know, you're out fishing on a kayak and your fingers fumble that phone and it drops. Might as well say goodbye to it. Ask me how I know. iPhone 14 Pro, gone. You know, in a kayak, the fish aren't biting. You know what you do? You don't go across the lake. You just go a quarter mile down that way. We'll try it there. You know, there's been times I've been out in a kayak and the waves come up. Oh boy, and if you take a wave sideways, it's not a good thing. You know, having a live on a kayak is not all that easy. There just isn't room for one. You know, when it comes to loading and unloading that kayak, it's almost a workout. Not that easy. You know, in a kayak, you almost plan your trips around the wind and how strong it is and where you're going. Wind and kayaks don't mix. Last thing about a kayak, don't lean left or right too far. You know what's going to happen? Ask me, I'll tell you. Hey, I got to take a break here. I forgot I have some foster kids I need to feed. Let me introduce you to my kids. See if they want to go fishing. Hang on a second. There's a few of them. They're all hiding from me today. They think we're going fishing and they don't want to go. Well, the robins are sitting on the fence waiting for me to leave. They don't want me to take them fishing either, I don't think. Hey, do me a favor. If you find this interesting or any help at all, or even if it's boring, do me a favor anyway. Down there, hit that subscribe button. I'm a little short on subscribers. And then you'll be up to date, maybe. I got more coming out. This video here has been bouncing in my head for 6 months, so hit subscribe, hit like, and better yet, hit a comment down there. Tell me where I'm wrong or right, or what did I miss. Thanks. Now, usually in a kayak, the entry fee is much less. And like I said, you can spend as much as you want, but you can get into a kayak much cheaper, and then you can go with a very nice kayak that's used and get a good bargain. You know, it's called Facebook Marketplace. It works. One of the things about a kayak, the maintenance is much, much less. In a kayak, you can hit shallow water and go in water that's 6, 8 inches deep. In a kayak, you can put in anywhere you want, anywhere you can get close to, you can put in the water. You don't need a boat ramp. You know, I have yet to put a tank of gas in my kayak or change the oil. It's because it doesn't happen. You know what? I have yet to pay taxes on my kayak, personal property tax or registration fees. That doesn't happen, with one exception, when you motorize it. At least here in Kansas, that's the way it is. You know, one of the most peaceful things I have ever done is early morning out on the lake in a kayak when the wind's not blowing, the fish are jumping. It's absolutely fantastic. In a kayak, you're sitting 6 inches above the water. It's fantastic. In a kayak, you can, with precision, put yourself over that little honey hole. It's very easy to precisely put it where you want it. Well, here's the $100 question. Which one do I part with? As you can see, it's not easy. You know, I retired a couple years ago now, and one of my main priorities is spending time with my grandkids, and I thoroughly enjoy it. when I was working, I was just putting too many hours. I couldn't spend the time that I wanted to with them. Also, there's several kids in my church that I spend time with, and they enjoy going fishing, all of them. And you can make huge memories for these kids by taking them fishing, something they'll never forget. You know, as I analyze this and think about it, I think the way I'm going to go, I just have to go with the kayak and keep it and sell the boat. You know, I hate to say it, but you just got to do what you got to do. I love fishing out of that kayak. It is so much fun. Well, that was a little bit optimistic. That was my heart talking. I think what's going to happen is my logic and my priorities are going to once again veto my decision. I think what I'm going to do is sell the kayak, keep the boat. That's probably the logical thing to do. You know, it's not an easy decision, like many decisions we've made in life as we've gotten older especially. But honestly, I'm not selling either one. But if I had to, I think I'd sell the kayak. I don't bend like I used to, and I love my grandkids, and I love spending time with them. There's nothing better seeing them catch a fish. It's a blast. Send me a comment. Tell me if you disagree. I appreciate you watching, though. We'll catch you on the next one, okay? Thanks.